Well, we're halfway there, and some folk are living on a prayer and a dream of a title fight. But tonight, it's all going to get shook up. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to round 8 and the second half of our FPRL Season 10 Championship. We are here at the Azerbaijan Street Circuit in Baku, one of the recently added tracks to the calendar. So let's see what we have on offer, because the more observant of you will notice Reese's Pieces, the Red Bull driver, is not here, serving a race ban for accumulated penalty points. And this is a lot more than an open goal. Dave is crashed. Okay. Thankfully this is a short qualifying, David, and you don't have to wait too long to get going. But like I was saying, this is more than an open goal for G Undisputed to get a firm grip at last on what has been a thoroughly closely contested championship. But we need some commentators to go through the action tonight around this Baku Street Circuit, and you know us by now, it's Cruiser and Mr. Monkey Boy Kurt. How you doing this fine Monday? Obviously, Monkey's got different matters to tend to. I think tending to our social media, which, while we're on that note, be sure to keep an eye out on our social medias so you know when we go live. And our Twitter, well, formerly Twitter, now X, at FairPlayRL. Our Instagram, Fairplay_RL. And our other social medias are YouTube, Fairplay Racing League, and most predominantly, and rather importantly, our Twitch, twitch.tv/FP or Racing League. We go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 PM UK time. And we've got 7 races to go. And in there is a sprint race mixed in somewhere. You'll find out when that is, when it arrives. In the meantime, who do we have going for a fast lap? It looks like it's going to be Rainbow going for their fast lap first. And I should have emphasised to the drivers as well, if you do have intentions of pitting, please stay to the left hand side of the track. That way the people behind you will know what your intentions are at that point. Should have expressed that before we went live, but better late than never. Anyway, as I've seen from the top right of my screen, Monkey Boy Kurt is here. How you doing? Oh dear. Yeah, one thing about Baku, especially that middle sector there, you need to be so careful going around that castle section, threading the needle perfectly to get the most out of your lap. And, well, pardon me, while we are on that, let's have a look at said championship standings. Sheriff Woody could make inroads to Reese's Pieces. He is only 15 points behind the Red Bull driver, but G Undisputed could end the evening a potential 43 points ahead of Reese's Pieces. 44 if he does pick up the Bronze Shalem. Well, say that. Fastest lap and the race victory. But still, Rainbow, a very steady lap to begin for the Williams driver. And Godfather will know to give a bit more room this time. Rainbow on a 43.7 and Godfather a 45.4, but we know that is not what he can do. Leonardo, last time out around Hungary, it fell apart a little bit for the Sauber driver. He drove well, but just ran out of good fortune, shall we say. But 140.1 is already a very strong effort there from the Sauber driver. And then from one to another, Sheriff Woody, the driver who can mathematically end the evening 8 points behind Jay Undisputed should the worst happen to Jay. He has had off days before though, has Jay, but so has Sheriff Woody. But still a 40.055, a Sauber 1-2, and that'll be a dream if it ends like that. Who else do we have? JSY sitting in for the Red Bull camp tonight, of course. Speedy B and Reese's Pieces, as aforementioned, not racing. The flow The one-man band here at Aston Martin, Rayman nowhere to be found, and Locker on their lap, along with two heavy hitters almost, especially of Button and Sid Sandwich, a driver who's really took to Tier 3, made it his own as around what is technically the final real corner on this Baku street circuit. There is 20 in total, 3 of them are in Sector 3, but they're flat out, they're non-existent as Locker pushing the boundaries, almost hitting the wall, and you don't want to do that too often, as obviously you know how that will go. Locker now down to the finish line, as I see there, the Flow finished their lap on a 140.6, GSY a 40.3, and Locker a 40.9. So not too bad there for the Mercedes team, 5th and 6th, but our Durmers I do expect to go a little bit faster. And I told you. We'll keep an eye out on those two, as I will admit there is about a second delay between times as G Undisputed and validating around turn 7. Easy done though, especially given how greedy you can be around that corner. As we'll now jump to the Wizard of Oz, just about to go by G Undisputed and give him a little bye as he heads up through the castle section, and be careful not to go too wide around there, otherwise that will also count as an invalidation. Cruiser Doddle joins me in the living quarters, as Silverside Boy has actually messaged me and says that you need to include your audio, monkey. Oh dear. Have I not given you the option to, or no? Oh, well that's not ideal. Right, let me... Apparently it is included, so let me do it now and do it again. Let me see if that does anything. In the meantime, Wizard of Oz going to finish up their time while we set out the technical issues. There's a 39.4. So we're seeing the evolutions now roll in. And another thing I'm noticing too, there's a lot of deployment used down that back straight. So is it worth the sacrifice of saving a little bit for that run to the line? I would imagine it is, especially given how quick it is. Easily one of the longest stretches of track in the calendar, and the second longest track of the campaign in terms of lap time. And still waiting for Hirsch to set their lap, and Jay, the last runner yet to set a lap from being on track. GSY starting their run now, and Button still cemented up in 3rd. Sid Sandwich and Wizard of Oz, somewhat of an unlikely pairing at the head of the field. I think given its cross today, we know exactly what it is. However, I think he likes you, so he'll be honest. Righto, we'll hopefully get this sorted before the night rolls on. Got 8 minutes left in qualifying, and hopefully about 10 minutes before the race begins. and says he can't hear him at all. Nah, this is not good. Hopefully, now he's back, he should get his audio included. As David Lawface says, this is the longest 12 minutes of his life. Well, at least you've got plenty of time to well, I suppose, get you set up fit and proper for the race. As Jay Undisputed is a 39.8, JSY a 39.9, Leonardo's still on at 40.1. So we'll
Can someone confirm if they can hear me now?
Yep, looks like it. Yeah, we've got it.
Yes! Everyone's so excited that the monkey's back in the room. I love that.
I'm not schizophrenic. He is actually here.
Right, well, let's get on then with two commentators on this session. We've got 7 minutes left, and Jay Undisputed is coming around the second sector, and he looks like he's on a down lap, so he's not going to be setting any competitive time here. It will be straight into the box, and it'll be a fresh set of tyres for the V-Carb, who's currently in 4th position. Looks like Leonardo, though. He's coming around on a fast lap. A 40.1 was his first lap for the Kick Sauber, as he now comes around the final sector. First left and then right, definitely at full speed. Don't use all of that battery, and now you're going to have no extra speed towards the line, and this really is going to affect him. But as he comes to the line, what is it going to be? It is going to go up to a 39.7, and that's going to put him up to P4 now, Leonardo.
Just see how much time he lost though because of his battery deployment. Ideally, you want to run out of battery after you hit the DRS line, because that's when you can just maintain your speed and not have to build it back up. Sheriff Woody, let's see what his Sector 1 is looking like, and we'll call it 3/10 up, as that's one way to take that curve there in turn 6. Trust me, that corner is devious. And then an even more devious little corner here, turn 7, takes it quite nicely, and then the forever treacherous turn 8. Throw it to the left and hope you don't hit the bollard. Brushes the wall there in turn 9, and then around turn 10, away we go now for this triple left-hander of turn 11, 12 and 13. Still goes the Sauber, avoids the curb on the inside there around turn 15, and then lastly turn 16, the final real corner. So crucial to get right, get the run and pin it to the line, as I say, there's no real corners left on the track. And Monkey Boy Kurt, look into our Twitch chat, my worst nightmares have officially arrived. Crossjury has redeemed a truth or dare redemption for myself.
Well, what are you going to go with then?
Yeah, you know that way that you know you shouldn't do something, but you want to do it just to see what happens? Yeah, well, Crossjury says that's the only reason he's here, so you know what, I'll make your time worthwhile, Crossjury. Dear. Do your worst and keep it civil, alright?
You are a brave man, Cruz. I
know I'm a brave man, because for those of you who don't know, I haven't been watching our streams most recently, or at least recently. Crossjury's Truth or Dares and Drink Redemptions, they've been interesting. So this will indeed be that. Anyway, 4 minutes left. Sheriff Woody might not get around again for another lap. Neither will JSY. It looks like this will be the Red Bulls' final chance at getting a provisional pole position. Too many P's in that sentence. Our Dummers looks like they are going to pit or get themselves ready for this run. Godfather is on a lap, as looks like he's actually done 2 preparation laps. Rinsing that battery. Actually, no, he is on a lap. Oh, that's a very late call there from Godfather. I think noticing the time between the end of the session. So fair to say he's left that one right to the wire, as I am eyeballing this Twitch chat waiting for this poison chalice from Crossjury. As you see Locker, that was a bit of bodywork there in turn 17, really exploiting all the track boundaries. Will Locker finish the lap, or will he pit? Because it looks like he's staying to the right hand side. He is going to finish this lap. This will be Locker's one chance. As Sheriff Woody has actually retired on track. He's not quite retired on track, but his car has been launched on track, because he's crashed into the barriers at pit entry, as JSY Not bad for a reserve driver, that.
Definitely not, and it's 3 tenths clear at the moment, but obviously we have got people now coming out onto their last runs. The Wizard of Oz is out on his outlap, Sid Sandwich is out on his outlap and will be soon coming on to his last hot lap of the session, and we will have time to actually go for one more should he invalidate potentially or be down on his time through this first. And he did get a bit wide there through turn one, so I'm thinking, would he opt to completely just, he's going to go for another hot lap, another warm-up lap there after going wide at turn one is Sid Sandwich. Button is now just come out of the box for his out lap, and we're starting to see all the cars now start to come out for their last runs with 2 minutes left to go. Here comes our Gummers. He is in the Mercedes. He's 2 tenths up. He's currently in 8th position. Another 2 tenths will put him up to around about P4, P5, but he now comes up to the line. It's going to be for the Mercedes, it's going to be a 39.7, and it puts him just behind Leonardo in P6. And we look further down as well, we've now got Locker, who's about to come on and finish his lap, and this will be his last lap of the session, and he's also 5 tenths up. This will put him up to around about where his teammate is, but he's got to make sure that he keeps enough battery to get himself to the line. And the DRS will now go on. He's jumping a little bit, his Locker. I don't know if the connection isn't too great for him, but here he comes. The other Mercedes across the line. It's a 39.8 and just behind his teammate. Slots himself into P7.
As I have looked in the Twitch chat, Trossery has, I wouldn't say he went for the poison, he went for the jugular over this one. So goes, Mr. Cruiser, please, don't tweet Sabrina Carpenter. Would you do the honour of sending us the glorious Come On You Behoys in Green? Not too bad, could be worse. You see, Trossery, I would, but unfortunately, I wouldn't really do that justice, because I'd sing it worse than the team's performance on Sunday, because we turned up and can shit down their throats. On the mighty Rangers. But I will do you an injustice. I will give you another one. Dave has told it perfectly. You would, but 3-2 in it, exactly. And I never usually swear in commentary. I do apologise for my profanity, but there is differences to football, because the Rangers and Celtic, we don't like each other. And Trossery's reminded me, 13 points. Well, it's 2 points between me and the Regmeister, so if anything, that's an incentive for you to check out the Tier 2 race on Wednesday. And Tier 1 seems like they've got a bit of a one-man show, but like any great dynasty, they all come to an end. As this qualifying sessions to come to an end in just a few moments' time, everyone getting their final runs on the board. Keep an eye out though, and Jay Undisputed down in 8th place. As is that Jay? No, it's not. As heading down towards turn 3, so that looks like it's Sid Sandwich who's made a mistake, and he is done for the session. As it looks like Locker's retired in the pit lane, we have a Haas down the back straight. Wizard of Oz up by 4 tenths. We could see ourselves into the 138s if he just maintains his battery for the last stint to the line. DRS, ERS, pin it to the floor. Are we going to break into 38s? And that answer is yes. A 138.828. 3 tenths between himself and JSY. Sid Sandwich is done. We knew that already. Button is up at the castle section. Took very nicely indeed by the Alpine driver and borrowing your setup. Leonardo is down and out. Jay Undisputed is down by a 10th, and if he starts 8th, him and Sheriff Woody have got a lot of work to do in the race. Godfather's matching his time. Any bit of time gained though in Sector 3 might challenge the top 10 a little bit more, as it looks like Hirsch's one lap gamble puts him in 12th. Godfather is down on their time. Where is Jay? There is Jay, but keep an eye on Button. He looks to be the real challenge here, but he's ran out of fuel on his time. And I think that might be it for qualifying, unless Sid Sandwich can strap a rocket to his teammate's car and give him as much slipstream as he can to try and project Jay Undisputed up the field. 137, 38, 39.2, and it actually helps him ahead of his teammates. Sid Sandwich doing the courteous thing and helping Jay Undisputed to a second row start, and once again in prime position to take another victory. But what we've seen from qualifying, it's not going to go his way, because Wizard of Oz takes pole position like he done for a sprint race in Hungary, and the surprise front row starter of GSY in second place.
Yeah, definitely a great lap there from Wizard of Oz. He's done it so many times this season, so quick in quali, but now it's all about bringing it into the race. And we saw glimpses of it last week in the sprint race around Hungary, what he can do when he has no problems in the race. So let's hope he can do that around the streets of Baku, but he's got to watch out for all the barriers that surround this track. But like you say, Aviation JSY on the front row, he'll be extremely pleased with that. And then we've got a second row lockout of the two B carbs of Jan Disputed and Sid Sandwich. Button fills in the top 5. I think he might have been able to go a bit quicker, but obviously ran out of fuel at the end. This wasn't meant to be on this occasion. Obviously at the back of the field, David Loweface, he'll be looking to make his way through the pack to gain some points tonight for Alpine. And other than that, just quickly go out the top 10. So Leonardo 6th, Argummer 7th, FPRL Locker 8th, Sheriff Woody 9th, and Godfather rounds out the top 10 with the Flow 11th, Hirsch 12th, and Rainbow in 13th. And we now go to the race, and I don't know if we are going to have a restart. I think, yes, we are. In the chat, it's been called, and I think that's because of the connection issues that I've definitely seen, and I think you may have seen a bit of it as well, Cruiser. So everyone will leave a lobby, and we will rejoin and have a restart, probably with another lobby host, just so we got a bit better connection for the race.
That we are. David Lawface has confirmed it in the Tier 3 Members Lounge and in a Twitch chat. We are having a host change. Virgin, and so looks like, obviously, for the streets of Baku, it is essential to have a half-decent connection, because if you've got a laddie car in front of you, good luck getting past it or surviving, because you don't know where that thing's going. It's like Gremlins. So, in the meantime, our intermission between qualifying and the race. A bit longer than usual, obviously because of a lobby reset once more. Let's obviously leave this menu, and we'll head back in to the lobby eventually. But in the meantime, I'm going to strip these opening credits because I can. And Hirsch says that he'll pay to start in first. Well, you don't have to start there, but you don't have to stay there as well, which is no easy task. Baku, very powerful for DRS, especially down towards turn 1, and I'd say turn 3 as well, but that is even tougher to get stopped and executed as well. Anyway, let's, do we have a lobby open? Not yet, it'll be confirmed soon enough. So Twitch chat, fire away, give us any interactive questions. In the meantime, off your boy Kurt, is there anything that you want to talk about? Because, as I think I mentioned earlier from Crostery's Truth or Dare, I know what I want to talk about.
What, are you singing Barbie Girl, Cruiser?
I am most... I mean, I could sign Barbie Girl. I mean, we've got plenty of time to wait. So...
I mean, if you want to give us your best rendition, then feel free. But while we're waiting for you to get those vocal cords
I need to look up the lyrics, though. That's the thing. When's the last time I actually done a song Redemption? For God's sakes.
Let's get some opinions on the first real race of the season around Australia. Obviously, Lando Norris bringing home the victory, slightly just ahead of Max Verstappen. I definitely thought he was going to lunge it on the last lap, I can't lie. But yeah, it was a pretty chaotic race, shall we say, even from the formation lap onwards.
I'm reading these lyrics. These might get us off the air.
Oh my god. You're actually revising some lyrics, yeah?
Yes, I'm looking at the song Barbie Girl by Aqua, and this basically sums up every Los Angeles supermodel. Basically, you're nothing but a plastic. I don't know. I don't want to let down Crostery though. That's the thing. What's the point in doing Truth or Dare Redemptions if you're not going to live up to it? That's the thing.
That's very true, to be fair.
Gary, less of that, please. I only refer to my first name through the mighty Radical 91, not through you. As commentator chats, right? He's right. It's open hunting season tonight. Here we go. Oh, this is. I need to actually check. Do we have a lobby open?
We do. I'm in it.
Yep, we do. Nice. As I will join up. And remember spectator mode, because that would do good. Much I'd like to practice for Wednesday. We'll keep it fair. And again, for tier 3, please hurry up so we can get going a little bit quicker. I'm not going to get out of this one, am I?
Alright, after 3 then, Cruiser.
Nah. Alright, come on, Alto. What we got? Alright, on 3. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cruiser Karaoke, as selected from Crossfire 1888. Radical says, Mum, I made it. Right, get me down, Mum, okay.
I'm ready, mate. Don't worry.
Yeah, get me down.
I'll be clipping this.
Right, let's go. Crossfire says, waiting. Get me down, mate.
Alright. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh my god, I am a shite bag. I'm sorry. Right, 2 seconds.
Well, I don't know how
I
long.
compose myself, man.
I don't know how long your seconds are, Cruiser, but I've counted down from 3 already.
My
so
seconds are centuries, pal.
we need to get this going. We need a monkey edit on this, says Gary. It could be one. Yeah, I could make a comeback. To be fair, yeah. Comeback of my meme edits. To be fair.
Jack Naso. Edit his face in a butt. Okay. I'm a Barbie doll in a Barbie world. Life is plastic. It's fantastic. You can brush my hair and dress me everywhere. Imagination. Life is your creation. I hope you're proud, Trostery.
Right. Well, I have to go. I'm gonna have to go to the hospital now and get some replacement ears after that.
I told you. I told you, man.
Oh my god.
Oh god. Trostery, this is open hunting season tonight. Right, Trostery, truth. I'm not doing that again.
Can we
just said never again.
Can we get some ratings in the chat, please, of that performance? Out of 10.
Well, it's not any worse than Bon Jovi, alright?
Well, to be fair,
it's better than Megan Thee Stallion, alright?
I'll give you 10 just for doing that, to be honest.
Yay! We've done something tonight. And Gary says, this is what you get, Mr. Tier 2 fraud. How have we came to that conclusion then? I'm not a fraud. You'll notice me in Tier 1 when I'm at the back every time. Sid Sandwich gave me an 11 out of 10. Thank you, Sid. I appreciate that. As looks like we did get back underway. Reminder to drivers, remember your setups for the race. And do not ready up before the lobby host, that being David Lawface tonight. Cruiser says Crossstray, and another truth thought there. So be quick, Crossstray, because I've said truth. Radical says 5 out of 10. Too quiet, need to be a bit louder so the folks at the back can hear you. That's why I have a great invention called a microphone. Or just turn up your TV volume. One of the two. I'm no singing Barbie Doll when there's an audience. When there is an in-person audience.
There we go. We got Mr. Cruiser. Here we go.
Right. Right. There was no bad. I say truth and I get a lie. Mr. Cruiser. We get 2 misters. I feel quite Tory now. Would you rather Rangers make a new club for a 3rd time? To try and be successful. Or would you rather Celtic win the lead for the next 20 years? Well, I'll go for the 3rd club. Mainly because it's not true. Sid Sandwich says he's singing Trap Queen if he wins. Well, there's your incentive. Right, Jay, less of that. Unfortunately, Rostry says it is it though. Unfortunately, it is because I would rather get liquidated again than see you win the league. That's how much I disdain and hate your club. I suppose it is a confession I should make. I've actually had Netflix on in the background watching WWE Raw, so that's why I've been sidetracked. I'm still keeping engaged in the chat, but yes, I do have the wrestling on in the background, and that is why I will not be here next week, because the wrestling is in Glasgow, Scotland. I have docked where I am, so I'll be back for the Circuit of the Americas on the 31st of March.
Well, you'll be
Meanwhile, you've got you've got
sorely
Monkey Boy Kurt
missed.
here to help you out.
You do indeed. You do have me here to help you out. Wonder who I will have next week is the question.
Just rest assured, you will still hear from me next week.
Okay. Interesting. Well, I guess now we should look forward to the race that is about to unfold here, and yeah, because we've had a little restart, the drivers are going to get a few more tyres that they can use if we have a few safety cars around here. I'm hoping that we don't have too many, but we always normally see at least one around Baku with just the nature of the track, with all the barriers, and especially that castle section, which is tight as anything. But yeah, just looking at the tyre compounds for the drivers, obviously we're going to see it all come up on screen in a second, but looks like I'll give you a little bit of a insider. It looks like a bit of a split between the field at the moment.
Well, that should shake up a little bit for the race as Crossstreet's in a spending spree tonight. Gary has said who it's going to be in commentary next week, so there you go. It'll be you and Mr. Silverside Boy on the Monday, and I will be partnering up on the Friday.
Oh, just remembered, I'm busy next week. Oh dear.
Oh
no. Oh well, we'll have to give it to someone else. Sorry about that, Gary.
Crossstreet, can you tie in on Monday? What? Yeah, Crossstreet, that might be the best and worst one yet. He's finally realised that there's more than one commentator. He says, Mr. Cruiser and Mr. Monkey Boy Kurt, since you are a great comms duo, thank you very much, can we please have a Scooby-Doo impression from Cruiser and a Shaggy impression from Monkey?
Christ.
I suppose, Monkey, you are famed for doing the Shaggy Rogers impression. Not quite sure about Scooby-Doo for me, though.
I am. We're going to have to wait for a massive collision to happen. That's the rule with it.
When do I even incorporate Scooby-Doo in this?
You just respond to me when I go zoinks.
No, I just hit you with the rock roll.
What you got to do is all you got to do is say raggy in a deep voice.
I'll do the rock roll first, and then you do the zoinks.
Well, there you go. You've already done that off of it for me. Cheers, mate.
I had to. I'm sorry. Scooby-Doo impression. No, said no.
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 I'm not pissed enough to do that yet, Sid.
We will impolitely decline that offer, Sid. Just you focus on driving, because 26 laps around here is no easy task.
Yeah, you're going to have to get me a few more drink redemptions if you want me to do that at the start, mate.
Well, for the second half of the season, round 8, we have 5 lights, and we are underway. We have a slightly ghosted Wizard of Oz at the start, and it looks like GSY is challenging towards turn 1, but Wizard of Oz does get the better start. The RB's third and fourth, J holds station ahead of his teammate. As there's motion at the back, Rainbow keeping out of the way there of everyone, filtering in line. As Leonardo gets ahead of Button and towards turn 2, two right-angled left-handers, and it looks like everyone is away unscathed. Wizard of Oz, JSY, J Undisputed, Sid Sandwich, Leonardo ahead of Button in 5th, Locker, Ardummer, Sheriff Woody and Godfather in 10th, and a very tame, clean opening start to the race as around turn 4, everyone holding stations for the moment, as it looks like there's a bit of jockeying in the back involving Sheriff Woody and Ardummers. The Sauber driver down the inside at turn 6, starting on the mediums as Ardummer starts on the hards, and Sheriff Woody makes the most of that, up now to 8th place And so far, very few position changes as our Darmer's now losing out there to Dordfar. We just seen in the background there at turn 7, Dordfar now ahead. Our Darmer's plummeting down the field while those hard tyres struggle to get into a working window.
Yeah, it's been quite a clean start of the race, has to be said, and Wizard of Oz gets away. Only 5 tenths though ahead of JSY. He's keeping him very... Oh, and JSY hits the wall there. I think so does Jan Disputed. And I think that was a bit of wing that flew off Jay's car. He has lost the front right end plate on lap 1 of this race. And that is not ideal for the championship leader. This is a great opportunity for him to get a really, really big lead over his rival Reese's Pieces, who isn't racing tonight, but surely now he'll let his teammate through with that wing damage. And I think Sid Sandwich will go through into P3 in a second. Aviation JSY now a second out from Wizard of Oz, and Wizard of Oz needs to keep within a second to avoid that DRS from the Red Bull behind him. Jan Disputed does not let his teammate through. He stays ahead for now, and there's a bit of something going on at the back, and that's Locker, and that is a virtual safety car. And
Turn 1, button's gone.
Oh, button into the wall as well. Yeah, I don't know what happened with Locker. I think he was having some connection issues, to be honest. It did look like he had a very dodgy connection on that first lap, and I think that potentially is what caused him to retire. And Button out as well. And that's the first VSC of the race. And yeah, 2 drivers out, only 12 left. So that means another 2 go out. You're going to be getting points if you get 75% way through this race. But yeah, Jay Undisputed with that wing damage. How long can he stay in P3?
Well, hopefully for him it's as long as he can. Because looking at that, Leonardo right behind Sid Sandwich as Locker has left the session, and we've got a couple of drive-throughs there. Sheriff Woody and Rainbow getting hit with the Delta, and Sheriff Woody has got a drive-through penalty himself as Rainbow is retired on track, and that is... Could it get any worse? Yes it can. As Leonardo actually... It looks like Leonardo's completely lost his front wing. I'm not sure if that's a visual glitch, but it looks like it is completely gone as... Oh! That's why you have brakes.
Well, this is a good start to the race, Cruiser. We've already got 4 drivers out, so you 10 that are left in, just stay in the race and you're going to get points.
Yeah. So everyone drive as slow as you can, you will make it to the end. As, yeah, we're 2 laps in, and this is what Baku is. Survival of the fittest. And for Lockyer, granted, we'll put a little star next to his name, because it was connection issues. Button, Rainbow and Leonardo gone within 2 laps. Godfather and Sheriff Woody into service pit lane drive-through. So, in the meantime, as Crossery puts it politely, another one bites the dust. Yeah, who's next?
Yeah, well, let's get your bets in, everyone. Who's going out next? But just looking at the tyre graphic, and David Lowface decides to start on the soft tyres. I don't know how long they're going to last, but he's up from 14th to 7th. Admittedly, 4 guys have gone out, but he's still gained another 3 places on top of that. So he's having a great start to this race. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, you probably couldn't have hoped for a worse start than what we've just had in the first 2 laps. Other than David on the softs, we've got another 4 drivers on the hards, and then 5 drivers, including 4, the top 4 on the mediums, and then Sheriff Woody down in 9th, who's just had his drive-through. So mediums early on looking a much stronger tyre, and these 4 are really pulling away. They're almost 6 seconds in front of our Gummers in P5. But yeah, Wizard of Oz, look, he's gained that second. He's almost 2 seconds ahead now of JSY, so he's really comfortable. Jay just hanging onto the back of JSY. He will, though, get DRS here, I believe, just about. He's just hanging on to that DRS window. Now Sid Sandwich, even Sid Sandwich dropping back off his teammate who's got wing damage. So this could potentially be a one-man race here. Wizard of Oz now 2.3 seconds ahead, and it looks like he's got a lot more front straight line speed than the Red Bull behind him as well. He's gained about 3 tenths just on that little bit of straight there.
Sorry, I had to respond to Crossery in the chat. And there we go. So lap 4 of the race at Baku. Wizard of Oz indeed streaking away from JSY. J Undisputed just holding on to the back of that Red Bull Sid sandwich, keeping himself honest in 4th. Ardhammer's on the hards, so he will just keep going as long as he can. And Leonardo has arrived in the chat after that pretty severe crash, and it says, "What a mistake I made." Yeah, usually when you don't have a front wing, it means you need to stop a lot sooner than what you did. But suppose you live and learn. And Crossdrays politely says that no Scottish are allowed on the racetrack. Bad enough having one in the commentary box. I think it's worse is that you bullied on said Scottish commentator, and it's not been Monkey Boy Kurt. Anyway, following this fight here for 7th place involving David and the Flow, as I think Monkey Boy Kurt, you were about to vouch there and say that you were not Scottish.
Well, no, I wasn't. I was just going to say, well, he can pick on me as much as he wants. We'll just take it on the chin from Mr. Crosscarry. There's plenty of jokes I could say to him as well, which we're not going to say on stream. But
yep. They are reserved for the private Xbox parties.
They are indeed. And yeah, look, I'm just looking here at Wizard of Oz. Now the fastest lap of the race, you're 42.0, and he's gaining so much on the straights. I don't know how much frontline speed he's got, straight line speed, but so much more than JSY. I don't know if that's because he's using hot lap down the straight, but he's really got a good ERS management going on here. With 5 laps gone out of 26, and yeah, now 3.6 seconds ahead. Jay still hanging in the DRS of JSY, and what it will be, he's probably struggling through the corners. His tyres might be overheating a little bit, and that might be why JSY is gaining that bit of extra gap through the twisty part of the circuit, because he's got a bit more downforce. But when it comes to coming down the main straights, Jay has definitely got more speed with that DRS that he's hanging on with. And the flow now all over the back of David Lolface, who looks like those soft tyres might have already run out of performance on lap 5 of this race. And I think David actually might have a bit of wing damage. Yes, he does, and that will definitely be affecting his performance. That's more than end plate damage, that's also half of one side of that front wing, so he's really got to be careful here now.
Well, say it once, say it again, just survive around this track and just keep yourself out of the wall, which it looks like what Sid Sandwich has accepted to do. In 2.3 seconds behind his teammate, but still very much looking to be a very lonely race for one of the RBs. And a live update to the standings. The gap between this man here, J Undisputed, and Reese's Pieces will go to 31 points at the end of this race if it stays as it is. So getting that margin of a race victory, which is 25 points, so important for Jay. Means if he does have an off day at some point, and of course next time out, as we've mentioned, we head off to what I would probably say is the toughest track in the game. Not just so much for the challenge of it, but for the duration of the race. We're talking sometimes, and at least once in memory in the league, over 60 minutes, an hour-long race. We head off to Marina Bay next week. So for Jay, if he does have a bad day there, at least he's got that margin in hand to take and leave Marina Bay and guarantee himself as championship leader after we're done with the Asian races. Well, I say Asian race. I say Asia. Azerbaijan is literally right on the border of Europe and, well, Eurasia.
Yeah,
indeed. We'll count it for context of this segment. Anyway, from one fight to another, looks like the Flow has dropped past David Lawface, using a bit of that DRS. Up now to 7th place is the one-man Aston Martin show, and next up for him is going to be the Ferrari of Hirsch, whose teammate FCR Butterfly was meant to serve a race ban tonight, failed to check in. So that will now be rolled over to Marina Bay. So Hirsch flying the flag very much for D'Italia and Estrothia, as the Flow using the final curb to get the launch. And now pin the throttle and hope you can keep up, as Button says that Wizard of Oz is driving straight into Wednesday nights. Well, I'll see him there if I don't go up. Crossers player said he can take my spot when I go to tier 1. I'm not even going to argue because I do have a hunch that I will be on Friday nights for the next time we are on an F1 game, that being F1 25. As David Lawface has decided, the softs have ran their race. We have thrown a set of hard tyres. 6 laps only for the softs, which is quite a bit of a surprise, especially given that this track is pretty much just long straight after long straight. But obviously the tyre wear around here will do our homework. The tyre wear is pretty poor. But one thing that isn't poor, Wizard of Oz's performance, exceptional, 4.2 seconds ahead of JSY. Jay Undisputed still more than happy to sit in third. Sid Sandwich in fourth. R. Dummer's now 9 seconds. And probably having an even lonelier race than Sid Sandwich.
Yeah, I mean, David's now come in, and I think you say, only went 6 laps on the softs. I think a lot of that was also down to the wing damage that he had, probably taking a lot more wear out of those tyres than what would normally, and probably making them overheat as well, having to turn more into those corners. So he's coming now for hards, which should take him now to the end of the race, but he will definitely be hoping that someone else bins it in the wall and we have another safety car so we can come back into the fight. But yeah, Wizard of Oz just taking it easy now. I think he's gained up to 4.1 seconds. He's gained a little bit more, but he's not really got any need here to really throw it around the track unless JSY starts gaining on him. At the moment, he's just managing a really easy, calm race at the moment for the Haas driver. And JSY got out of DRS now, just about. I don't think Jay Undisputed had it on that run down to the line. He might just about get it now as we go down to turn 3, and I think yes he is. He's just got it back again. Sid Sam was just behind 1.9 seconds, and then we've got a big gap there of 10.6 seconds to our Gummers on the hard tyres. Is that a mixture of how fast the mediums are and how fast the drivers are just in front in terms of raw pace? Sheriff Woody trying to get back into this fight after his drive through. 14 seconds though, he is adrift of P7, the flow. We have a look at the position changes quite quickly, and I said that David Love, I said he was on for a very good race, but he's obviously dropped back now. But Hirsch, the main gainer here, obviously 4 have gone out, but he is up 6 positions, and he will now be trying to get near our Gummers in P5. But the flow is just lurking behind him. You just got to make sure that he doesn't take a go at him down the straight and loses down to P7 for the Aston Martin.
Oh, I suppose at this rate, the top 4 have just had them just doing their job, and everyone else has just picked up the bones of everyone's misfortune. Our drummers though, 11 seconds now behind the top 4. Now 4th place Sid Sandwich. The flow is the one really making the most overtakes right now. Hirsch has made up 6 places, started down in 12th. David up 4 places, started down in 14th. As is Jay going to look for a move here on Aviation GSY? That answer is quite the resounding no. As we start lap 9 here in Baku. Wizard of Oz 5.2 seconds ahead of everyone else. JSY just towing along that RB. But one thing I would give credit to here is Sid Sandwich has kept within around 2.5 seconds of his teammate, even with all that DRS that Jay Undisputed is getting from that Red Bull. He's doing more than enough to keep up. Just make himself honest. And what could be a very pivotal day for RB in our Tier 3 Constructors standings. If they get a double podium here, dare I say that is as good as they could get. In one hand already, eyeing up that Constructors trophy as Jay. You don't want to do that too much. But the flow I've seen too, getting ahead of first and Eastern, actually having a bit of a right tussle here in towards turn 4. The flow says enough for your games. I'm putting myself up in 6th, and that he is. So next up now for him, our drummers.
Yeah, there's a bit of pushing and shoving there for that P6 for the flow and Hirsch. Wheel banging going on a little bit there, and I think Hirsch won't really like that. He'll want to try and get back in with DRS and have a go back, but it looks like now the flow's probably going to use quite a lot of battery just to make sure that he gets away from the DRS range of Hirsch. It's looking like he's done it now. 1.6 seconds. I don't know what's happened to Hirsch, if he's gained some wing damage potentially. I think he might be missing an end plate, and that might be what is costing him it. Oh, and he goes wide there as well. I don't think he hit. I think he might have hit the wall there again. I don't know if he lost any more wing, but yeah, I don't know. He just suddenly just dropped off all of a sudden. Now 2.6 seconds behind So he's dropped that in the space of 1 lap. So, yeah, not sure what's happened to the Ferrari there. As we go back on board with P3J, and he's just sort of sticking in there. Oh, he just whacked the wall again. But he's just sort of sticking there with, oh, but he's really lost his wing now. You go on board with Jay now, you can really see that he's really basically missing half of a right-hand side of that front wing. And I'm amazed that he's been able to stick this close to JSY. I would have thought now that he's just going to drop back. But at the moment, it seems that somehow he's able to hold on to the back of the Red Bull. And even his teammates not catching him up. So, yeah, not quite sure how he's doing this, but we can definitely see from the overhead pictures how much wing is now missing off that V-carb.
Or rather, how much he has left, that being half. And I seen well, he studded the wall at turn 1, and I would say he's very lucky not to have DNF there. The J hits it with a fair whack, and that is where half of his front wing has decided to break. So, it seems like now this will be the pit stop for J Undisputed. He doesn't have a choice, does he? As around turn 16 again brushing the wall. He's just giving it little taps and scrapes, but you don't want to do that too much because, like we say, half a front wing. This will need to be a service lap, surely. He's already lost the DRS to JSY, plus a little bit more. As around turn 18, the very deceptive turn 18, you go a little bit too wide there, you will know about it. And be met with Barry R. As J Undisputed is going to pit. He didn't have a choice really, did he? As through that little finicky chicane and into the pits is our championship leader. So now I'm saying too, for Sheriff Woody it's a chance to catch up. But he's got a pit as well after that drive-through penalty. He got on lap 2 behind the virtual safety car. So Jay should drop now behind Hirsch in 7th place. He's got a lot of work to do now though to catch up. As how far ahead of he is he ahead of Sheriff Woody? And that answer is miles ahead of Sheriff Woody. He's already up around turn 2. Sheriff Woody's just about made turn 1. So at least for Jay, he can go to the end, no muss or fuss, but just keep it out the wall.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's got to do now, and JSY won't have to pit just yet because if he's looked behind in his mirrors or his camera and seen that that Jay's got that wing damage, he'll know that he won't have to worry about an undercut just yet. But he might want to worry about it maybe in 1 or 2 laps time. So I think we'll see probably JSY maybe within the next 2 to 3 laps. But I mean, it's getting near the point now where we see the medium runners in for hards. There is a yellow flag out, and that is going to be a full safety car. And that is the flow that's binned it in the castle section. And that is exactly what the likes of Sheriff Woody, Godfather and David Loweface all wanted. That puts them back into the fight now, this race. And we should now see definitely the top 3 pit. And I have a feeling we're going to have to see everyone pit here. Because it's just at that point of the race where you really do just have to pit now. You haven't really got a choice, even if you're on the hard tyres. If you carry on now on 11-lap-old hards, you're just going to be a sitting duck, and then you're going to have to pit later on. So we're probably going to see the whole field here in. And for the likes of the top 3, and I believe Sheriff Woody as well, let's go back onto the tyres. Yes, it's for Sheriff Woody and the top 3. It's going to be really good for them. They can go onto the hard tyres until the end. But for everyone else, it's not going to be so good. And J Undisputed's missed out there as well, because people have been able to pit while he's adhering to a delta. So he comes out in P4 behind his teammates. So not actually too bad, despite everything. Here come the rest of the guys then. So you've got R. Gummers, Hirsch on the mediums. We're going to have Sheriff Woody now going onto the hards. And then we're going to have Godfather onto the mediums. Will we see David Loweface in? It's only on 4-lap-old hards. He's going to carry on, but he's really going to be slow come this restart. And I think he's going to get a little bit eaten up, especially by the likes of... In fact, he's going to be P8 anyway, so I reckon Godfather will probably eat him up straight away. But this is definitely now going to be a race where I think the top 3 can pull away, and even J Undisputed as well. But can R. Gummers and Hirsch hold on to the top 4 with the medium tyres? I reckon at the start of this restart, definitely. but it all depends on how long they can stay before those mediums start to go off.
Seriously, boy, giving us a bit of interaction in the chat. A safety car question and a nominated catchphrase. As, like you say, our Drummers and Hirsch, and Godfather for that matter, are definitely the odd ones out to the field, and somewhat of a wild card actually to the field. Can the mediums go 15 laps for that matter, pardon me? I don't know if they'll get that far, but they will get to the end with a little bit of struggle. As for everyone on the hard tires, go for it. That's all it's going to be. And even at that too, I'm looking there, Sheriff Woody in 7th. He's now got a chance to use Hirsch and our Drummers to just tow himself along and make up for that drive-through penalty earlier on. He might find himself here fighting for 5th place, in which in his championship pursuit of Reese's Pieces cuts that gap from what was 15 points to 5. And if it ends like this, it will be a 29-point gap between Jay and Reese's Pieces when we head off to Marina Bay next week. Anyway, the flow saying the wall tap definitely was enough to take my whole tyre off. The more you know. It was just a little, it was a passionate love tap, and then that wall slapped you in the face. That's what that was. And Silverside Boys actually says that his safety car questions to you, Monkey Boy Kurt. Still waiting on said question. But no, it will be directed to thee.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. See what Gary has got to say and ask me. Hopefully.
Ah.
How are you feeling after Port Vale versus MK Dons? Well, to be honest, I knew we were going to lose just because of the form we're in, just because of where we are on the table and where they are. So, to be honest, it wasn't really much of a surprise that we lost 3-0. I'm just hoping that next week, on Tuesday, when we're away to Carlisle, who are bottom, we get a win, and that's going to just confirm that we stay up. We probably are going to stay up anyway, but yeah, the form we're in, I wouldn't count on it just yet. But yeah, that is how I'm feeling after that. Not too bad. It could have been worse, put it that way. But going back to, oh, look at that, David decided to come in for mediums as well as Godfather there. So now David's probably thought, okay, I'll stay on the hards for a bit longer. I'm, at the back of the grid, and so it doesn't matter if I leave it right till the end. I can then pit and come in and not use those mediums out a bit more. So I think David now can potentially get these to the end if he does well on them. And I think the way as well that we've got the cars here, we've got the front 4 on hards, and then we've got 5th, 6th, 8th and 9th on mediums. Could we potentially see a 9-car DRS train here? You'd like to see it, but whether or not everyone can stay within a 1 second, I'm not sure.
Well, what we will have is another lap behind the safety car. Godfather not quite catching it in time unless it goes in now, which it won't. So I have one more lap under the safety car, and I've noticed too, Silversay Boys replied to your comments of how you feel versus Port Vale versus MK Dons, saying it can't be worse than my feelings last week. Must be absolutely drastic and terrible being knocked out of the Champions League and then losing a cup final. Must be absolutely terrible on a weekly basis knowing you can qualify for that stuff.
Indeed, I agree with that completely. I mean, but I have to say, I know Gary is a Liverpool fan, but what a header that was yesterday from Dan Burn, if anyone saw it. That was like, we all talk about Harry Maguire used to be in a slab head for England, but Dan Burn can do anything like that for England. He's the new slab head, because that was an absolutely monumental header, especially in a final like that. So yeah, good on him, and good on Newcastle. First trophy in God knows how many years.
I think they mentioned it was their first trophy in 70 years for Newcastle.
Mad.
Yep, so just for context, that is their first trophy since 1955. Tell you what, there must have been a lot of parties in the north side of the Tyne, I'll tell you that.
There would have been a lot of Newcastle brown ale consumed, I can assure you, mate.
Silver Boy says, all I've heard is Arna lost and Arna flop today. Well, I'm not exactly going to say that they're wrong, but Arna lost. I don't know what it is with Liverpool, but it's just like, this is exactly Liverpool last season. They just gave up in February. And then March onwards, they've just homed it in. I don't know why. I don't know if that's just me though, because March last season, when it was, I think it was the quarterfinals of the Europa League, everyone expected Liverpool to turn Atalanta over. They lost 3-0 at Anfield. This season, they expected to beat PSG. PSG had battered them pillar to post for the 2 legs, and Liverpool took them to penalties, which they lost. And now it looks like end the season again on 1 trophy. Granted, it's the league title, but it's 1 trophy out of what could have been 3 or 4.
Yeah, exactly. And now we get ready for the restart of this race. And this is exactly what we need to get everyone back together. And Wizard of Oz goes straight away. Doesn't hang about there. The safety car's only just got into the pits. And we're already going. Aviation JSY has kept really close to the Haas here. And would he go for a move down the inside into turn 1 and take the lead of this Grand Prix? It's very tight. But Wizard of Oz stays in front just for now. And look at Sid Sandwich coming along now on the inside of JSY. He's side by side going through turn 2 and just about stays ahead, does the Red Bull, but the V-Carb is very, very aggressive behind him. Will try and make a move. Now Jay Undisputed trying to make a move on his teammate, doesn't want to squeeze him too much to the barrier, and that's exactly what he's just done. And now Hirsch trying to now get past the V-Carb as well, up to P5. We've also got some battling going on for P6 and P7, Sheriff Woody, David Lowerface, Godfather, everyone's sticking really close together on this restart. And they've got to be careful here, they don't take each other out. And Jay Undisputed doesn't want to drop too far behind this front 2. He's already a second now off Aviation JSY. All JSY's got to do to stick with Wizard of Oz, because potentially no one's got any penalties at the moment. Stay with the Haas, potentially get in the position to overtake and have a chance of winning this race today.
Just following on here with Sheriff Woody in 7th place. Doing what he's had to do. He's got ahead of David at the restart, and he's back to where he was. Yes, for him to beat our drummers, as that looks like Godfather went a bit deep there at turn 15, and it looks like he's paid the price for it. I spy a lost front right end plate for the McLaren driver. So that pit stop, he'll have to make another service to his team and probably an apology letter as well. Meanwhile, looking at the front, JSY, this is the closest he has been to Wizard of Oz in 15 laps of racing. That gap now 4/10 of a second. And now they've both dispatched the RBs. They are free to go to the end and see who really is the faster of the 2. Sid Simon's now back ahead of Jay Undisputed. Hirsch is still hanging in there. He can stay within the DRS range, but it looks like the reins are off at RB. Both of them going hammer and tong, at least for the moment. Jay Undisputed now gets the DRS. Aviation JSY gets the DRS on Wizard of Oz, just to keep himself close. And Sid Sandwich elects not to fight that one too hard. Jay Undisputed now back into 3rd. 1.5 seconds now behind the front 2. But if the front 2 keeps wobbling, Jay will catch that gap up in no time flat. Hirsch still 5th. Our Drummers, Sheriff Woody, David Lawface and FPRL Godfather 9th. The only 9 cars left running of this 14 car field. The Flow in 10th, but I'm not sure if he will classify for points however. Which is a bit of a disappointment for the Aston Martin driver. He'd done well till that point. And all it took was a simple love tap on the wall, and yep, the tyre exploded. Leonardo, Rainbow, Button and Lockhart with his connection issues, the other casualties among the field. And that gap still within 1.5 seconds, but Sid Sandwich starting to drop back now from his teammate and into the clutches of these medium runners.
Yeah, I felt that Sid was maybe a bit quicker than his teammate there, but he's not decided to let him through here. And yeah, maybe it's just because he had the DRS, but to me he was looking a bit quicker, and now Sid will get the DRS on his teammate, so will Hirsch. And Hirsch used far too much of his battery though early on to try and stay with his top 4. Sheriff Woody's got some wing damage, and now our Gummers will try and go down the inside, but let's go back to the front. If we can see JSY trying to stay with Wizard of Oz. Are we going to see a move? and we don't from Sheriff Woody on Argummers. Argummer stays behind. But yeah, once again, though, Jay Undisputed and Sid Sandwich, only 4 attempts between them. And I really do feel that this is really affecting Sid's race. I think Jay just needs to let him go, to be honest. I know Jay's obviously got a championship to fight, but Sid is the faster RB at the moment. And he needs to be sort of let free to try and get close to this top 2, because I think he's got a better chance here of getting a better result for the team. Hirsch now in the clutches of Sheriff Woody, who has got wing damage, so it looks like he's going very quick. Oh, we saw some more wing flying off there. I don't know if that was another end plate for Sheriff Woody.
I think it's Jay.
It might be Jay. It's Jay. Is it? I think it is. Let's have a look.
Front left.
Yeah, Jay has lost the end plate, and now 9 attempts behind his teammate. He's just got to try now and hold the pack up behind as much as he can and let his teammate get away. JSY, I just feel like you should try and use a bit more battery down the straights just to get past. Maybe he doesn't want to do it too early, but once again he will have DRS. Maybe just trying to get so close he doesn't have to use as much battery to get past, but 5 attempts is the gap as we come down to lap 17 and start lap 18, 4 attempts. And I'm thinking now, surely you're going to put some battery into this, try and get past. Are you, JSY? It doesn't look like you are, no. You're just going to keep it on medium and not go for it anymore. The Wizard of Oz keeps it on, put it on none there actually, just to try and gain a bit back. And it looks like it's a fight out of these two. Hirsch now and Jay Undisputed trying to fight each other. And there's a bit of contact there. Side by side now in turn 2. Jay trying to hold it around the outside, but that wing damage is proving to be very, very bad for him. And Hirsch now into P4. Will have his sights now set on a podium place. We'll go after Sid next.
Well, it's not just Hirsch that's having a go at Jay Undisputed, it's going to be Sheriff Woody, and that is so important for his championship too. Jay clobbers the wall again. Sheriff Woody is on his outside now for turn 4. Jay rides the curb to try and defend his position, but Sheriff Woody gets the better drive, and it's going to give Jay a bit of his own medicine in towards turn 6. This is critical for Jay's championship defence. This is important for Sheriff Woody's championship charge, and charge on does the Sauber. He's up now to 5th place, and for the first time in what feels like forever, he is going to take inroads out of Jay's championship should it end this way. And that open goal for Jay looks like it's going to be a missed shot on target for the RB driver. Now 6th place, and that 18-point gap now looks to be only 24 at the end of the day. Sheriff Woody going to close that gap down, granted by only 2 points, as he gives the wall another brush there. But the real fight here, who's going to cross the line first, has a safety car, once again determined the ending to a race. Last time out it was Jay that favoured from it. Now I fear this week it's hindered him a little bit, especially given how strong the medium runners are right now. But the one thing that will help Jay, granted 2 things that will help him, one is the DRS, 2 is that the hard tyres will get better as the race goes on, and no sooner is Jay back in 5th, he is now back in 6th. Our Dummer's now ahead of the RB, and in towards turn 1, gets the move done on Jay Undisputed, but Jay will get the DRS back. He doesn't need the DRS, not towards turn 2. That is aggression from a championship leader. He does not want to lose any more ground.
No, he does not. He's really trying to stick with his P5. He knows that everyone's not got penalties, so he knows he needs to try and keep his position there. He can't afford to anyone to go by, and he has to just stay within 3 seconds of him. This is different. Everyone has got no penalties. He's got to try and fight for this position, but he's got to do it in a clean way, which doesn't get him any penalties post-race. And he's been very aggressive here to try and hang on to the 5th position. Obviously, he's got that wing damage, and I think our Gummers will be trying to get past. I think actually these 3 in a row, 5th, 6th and 7th, have all got wing damage, so they're all going to be trying to get ahead of each other. And Hirsch now 1.8 seconds he is behind Sid Sandwich, trying to get within DRS range. It looks like at the front as well that Wizard of Oz has broken that 1 second barrier. 1.5 seconds ahead now of JSY as we start to approach lap 20 of 26 of this race, and it's looking good for the Haas. Just another 6 laps to go after we cross the line this time. And yeah, 1.6 seconds. He's now just got to try and get a bit more of his battery back, down but 17% at the moment. I feel like Aviation JS1 needs to use maybe a little bit to try and get back in DRS range, but at the moment he's just dropping back even further. 1.7 now is the gap, and now it's 1.8. So yeah, it's a bit tricky. Here comes our Gummers though, on Jan Disputed, and the battle for fifth goes on again for another lap. Jay holds it round the outside. Our Gummers going to try and stick with him though. He will have a DRS as we go down to turn 4 and gets a good run out of turn 2 there. And going to turn 3, sorry. Here comes our Gummers on the DRS. Oh, and Jay squeezes it really close there to the right-hand side wall. But our Gummers for now is ahead, and now he's got to try and build a gap. Maybe try and get within the 1 second of Hirsch and get a bit of a DRS advantage to stop Jay from behind. But yeah, these three definitely battling very hard here, 5th, 6th and 7th.
I think really Jay knows he has to, but also knows he doesn't need to. Given that Reese's Pieces still isn't here, but he just needs that safety car, not quite safety car window, but that safety net of 26 points to take to Marina Bay and ensure championship leaders are Gummers just avoids the barrier there by the slimmest of margins, pushing that Mercedes to its limits. And speaking of being pushed to the limit, Wizard of Oz giving everything in that Haas to keep that gap, now at 2.3 seconds to JSY. He is brought away, and as you were before the restart, Sid Sandwich 2.2 behind JSY, and Hirsch 2.8 now behind the RB. So good fortunes for one RB from a safety car, the other very much mired in this midfield as we have 7 laps to go, crossing the line, 6 remain here in Baku. Wizard of Oz looks set to go from a lights to flag victory, but not without its moments, so to say. That safety car on lap 12 doing what it could to try and deter the Haas, but he's coped with that very well. JSY looks set to take regardless a very solid, well-earned second place should it end this way. As we'll jump back on board with our Gummers, Hirsch is now in range with the DRS, using a bit of that battery, using the DRS to try and close up to the Ferrari, and that's all he'll do is close up a little bit, but it's a little bit too late, gives Hirsch a bit of a shunt, and still carries on, but that front wing does not want to be battered and abused any more than it needs to.
No, it definitely doesn't. And now this battle for 5th, 6th and 7th now turned into 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. And Hirsch just looks like he's lost a lot of pace from somewhere. And now he's practically holding up a 5-car train here. It's Hirsch, our Gummers, Jan Disputed, Sheriff Woody and David Lolface now getting in on the act. He'll just want some people to maybe pick up the odd 3-second penalty. He can gain a few positions here. Just outside of DRS is the Alpine in 8th, 1.1 seconds behind Sheriff Woody. But yeah, Hirsch got to be careful here. He could lose 3 positions in one straight, so got to be very careful. Our Gummers, they're going very wide as we approach the end of Sector 2, and they're all throwing it around as we now come to the main back straight. Main straight now, and yeah, I really think that Hirsch, he's really got low on battery as well. He's trying to save some battery, but now he uses the overtake to try and pull away. But look how close everyone is here, and surely I'd be very surprised if we don't see any contact here. Our Gummers is through, and there goes Jay as well, and there goes Sheriff Woody. But look at the speed that Sheriff Woody's got, and we've got, it maybe have 3 wide here as we go into turn 1. There goes Jan Disputed, there goes Sheriff Woody, and our Gummers ends up losing 2 positions there. And this is all just so tight, and Jay now back up into 4th. Hirsch in the space of 1 straight is down to 7th. This is the battle on track at the moment. Forget 1st and 2nd. This is where we want to watch. And Jay now won't have DRS. It's going to be Sheriff Woody. How's he going to use any battery here to try and get past? He definitely will. He pulls out there as Jay tries to defend. Sheriff Woody just got to try and make Jay make a mistake. And on this occasion, he can't do it, but just stay within the 1 second. And look at David Lolface now catching up to these guys. You know, this lap we could see Jay potentially lose 4 positions on 1 straight. Have you muted, Cruiser?
No, I'm so engrossed in this fight for fourth place, mind you, with our championship leader Jay Undisputed, Sheriff Woody, our Gummers Hirsch, and now David Lolface has joined the party. 5 different cars fighting for 4th place, and now it's Jay's turn to be at the front of this, not even quite the train, but the express, as down towards turn 1, as you said, Hirsch from 4th to 7th, managing his battery. Surely Jay's not going to have that same fate hinder him. But Sheriff Woody, this is where he needs to be and where he has to be, is just battling Jay. And granted, if he does finish ahead of him, it's only 2 points, but it's 2 points gained as Jay brushes that wall. That was so close to a disaster for Jay Undisputed, as he didn't let Sheriff Woody through before the detection line. And actually tell a lie, Sheriff Woody has got a DRS there, so he will be able to defend, but our Dummer's now looking to make the move there on Jay Undisputed as well, in towards turn 1. It's going to be the Sauber ahead of the Mercedes. It's it, the brush wheels. Jay giving it everything to defend, and our Gummers just loses ground. Jay once again showing the heart of a champion, but 5th place now for the RB, and using that battery to pull away from the Mercedes and limit the damage. But now can Sheriff Woody run away from the train? I think really that answer is going to be no, as Crossfield is hoping something happens. Same as Silverside Boy, hoping that David Lawface can pick up the pieces later on. But even at that, Hirsch is still sitting in there too, and we should have really updated the gap ahead. Sheriff Woody's 7 seconds behind Sid Silent, who has all but confirmed the podium place at this point, along with JSY, who is now 4.4 behind Wizard of Oz. So now it is as you were before the safety car into the pits as our Dummers just avoids the wall again. Just an idea how narrow that section of track is. You can barely fit the car through there. That is mental. How these guys can do it so precisely, so consistently.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really good. Once again, watch them all come down the main straight. Who is going to be ahead of this pack of 5 when we get to the end and start lap 24? The leader is just about to do it. Just a little update. Wizard of Oz 4.4 seconds ahead. The Sid Sandwich will be trying to get within a second of Aviation JSY. 1.8 seconds at the moment. Potentially could have a last late in the day move for P2 potentially. But we're going to go back to this battle between the top 4. Sorry, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. And here goes Sheriff Woody. Here goes Jay Undisputed. Jay Undisputed back into 4th place. And this time there's not as many moves per position. Our Gummers gets up right behind the Kick Sauber, but with 3 laps now left to go, you've really now got to start being, very smart with where you use your battery here. And Jay's got a lot more of it, 63% to Sheriff Woody's 30. And I don't think Sheriff Woody here is going to have enough to get past on this straight. And I think he's going to have to wait until we get to the back straight again. It's Jay. Who's Jay here? I'll be trying to get a bit of that battery used, trying to get out of the second barrier. And what we also got to remember here is the medium tyres are on 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. They could potentially start wearing off here, and could we see Jay finally get a bit more of an advantage with the hard tyres that he's got on? They will go for longer. At the moment, Sheriff Woody 6/10 behind. It's going to be very close, but I feel like now maybe this is the falling off point for the mediums. Is Jay going to be able to keep this P4?
As Sheriff Woody still doing his best to hold on, but our Drummers and Hirsch around turn 14, just about keeping it together, as around now turn 15, Hirsch doing what he can to get ahead of that Mercedes and deter him from what's been a very solid performance, as does just that. He goes on the curb and Hirsch scoots past up down to 6th place. Our Drummers back down to 7th, but Hirsch again does not have DRS, as David Lawface now picks off the bones of that fight as well. He's up now to 5th, rinsing the baton to try and stay ahead and maybe even mount a challenge on Hirsch in towards turn 1, as meanwhile just a bit further ahead Sheriff Woody still happy to keep within what was 2/10, 1/10, go for the move around the outside. It is our Drummers giving David a little hello on his outside around turn 1. Sheriff Woody's back ahead of Jay Undisputed. Our Drummers is now back ahead of David Lawface in towards turn 2. David has the outside line, our Drummers wobbles the curb, David has the DRS, and this time we'll get up to 6th. But there's Hirsch again looking to get involved in this fight. This has been absolutely fantastic stuff. 9 drivers in the field. Who says you can't have any close quarters battle? Who says you can't have fun? David Lawface now 6th, as Sheriff Woody once again pushing Jay to his limit, desperate to get ahead of him. And on the penultimate lap at Baku, this is still anything but settled for the minor placings.
Yeah, this is definitely really entertaining. We've only got 9 cars in the field, but it's definitely been, in my opinion, one of the best battles that we've seen all season in Tier 3. And it's not even amongst the front runners. It's amongst P4 to P8. And it's really, really entertaining to watch, as we now got 1.5 laps left to go in this race. And I just saw Sid Sandwich there trying to get up to 1.4 seconds behind Aviation, but he's now dropped back to 2 seconds. I don't think he's going to quite be able to get P2. I think the top 3 are pretty much settled unless anything happens on the final lap. It's going to be Wizard of Oz at JSY and Sid Sandwich on the podium, it looks like. But we're going to head back to what the main entertainment is here. That's P4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 here. And it looks like P4 and 5 have just broken away now from 6, 7th and 8. There's going to be 2 separate battles here. One for 4th and one for 6th. And we've got 1 lap now left to go. And Sheriff Woody's going to take the advantage now with all the speed that he's got. He goes straight past Jay Undisputed. And is that a bad decision? Should you have stayed behind and gone have that DRS on the last lap? So you can then have the advantage coming across the line. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll see Sheriff Woody try to let Jay potentially through here so we can have that advantage as we come towards the line. Here comes Hirsch now and really trying to break the toe of David Lolface. Here comes David Lolface. Is he getting enough speed? Down the outside he goes. He's not going to be able to get past, and Hirsch stays ahead in P6. Our Gummers as well, really close behind in P8. And yeah, I don't know if Sheriff Woody's made the wrong decision there to go through on this lap. I think Jay now potentially has the advantage. And look at all the battery that Jay is saving up. He's basically got a full battery to use down the final straight. I think we may see 4th position potentially going to the V car, but all depends what run Sheriff Woody can get out of these last few corners. But soon, oh, and Hirsch is gone.
Oh, Hirsch. And the castle section claims another victim. And cruel for Hirsch, given how closely and how hardly he fought for that fight. But we're going from that fight where it was handbars at dawn. This is nothing more than a sunset drive on the beach for Wizard of Oz. Kicked back, laid back, and victory on the Baku streets. Wizard of Oz takes victory. JSY will take second ahead of Sid Sandwich, but who will finish in 4th place? Will it be Sheriff Woody? Will it be Jay Undisputed? Both of them rinsing the battery, rinsing the DRS. Jay's gaining, closing the gap, and Jay steals it on the line by 8 thousandths of a second, and our Gummers just sneaks ahead of David Lawface. Do your homework, folks. Charge up the battery for the final lap. David Lawface knows all too well what happened here in Season 8, and this time it's went full circle for the Alpine. Losing position on the line, our Gummers take 6th, Sheriff Woody will take 5th, and Jay Undisputed, it could have been far, far worse for Jay. That's how you'll see tonight. 4th place for the RB. His teammates Sid Sandwich in 3rd, JSY in 2nd, and Wizard of Oz picking up where he left off in Hungary. His first victory for the Haas driver. And Godfather, to be fair, we didn't mention him too much in this race, so we'll give him his moment as he crosses the line. It wasn't the best race from him, but it's still points for the McLaren. 8th place, and the last of the drivers who survived the Baku circuit. And indeed, survival of the fittest, very much so, Wizard of Oz, just one step ahead of the rest.
Yeah, it did. I mean, we didn't really watch him for the second half of that race. We were too busy watching the guys behind. But yeah, it was a great drive from Wizard of Oz. He got pole position. He took the win. He looked in control for most of the race. In fact, all of the race. No one really ever got near him. So it's definitely a thoroughly deserved win today. And JSY, it has to be said as well, firmly kept hold of P2. He thought Sid Sandwich might have nicked it off him in the late stages, but he never could get close enough. It's a good podium though for Sid as well, and he'll definitely be pleased with that result today. Hirsch very unlucky to go out on the last lap, but he will pick up 2 points nevertheless. But yeah, just look at those gaps there. We've got 8 thousandths between Jay Undisputed and Sheriff Woody, and 38 thousandths between our Gummers and David Lowface. We always normally see a last lap overtake round these tracks, and we saw 2 of them tonight. But yeah, one of the great races in FPRL, one of the great races, for my opinion, of this season. And like I said, not even the front runners were even doing that. It was the mid-pack that were giving us all entertainment. I think it was thoroughly deserved through everyone that was watching, and definitely us in the comms box, Cruiser.
That it was. Wizard of Oz, very much the perfect night for him. Fastest lap, pole position, lights to flag for Wizard of Oz. Absolutely fantastic. for the Haas driver. But J Undisputed extends that championship lead now to 30 points ahead of Reese's Pieces. And that will now be 35 ahead of Sheriff Woody. So Sheriff Woody has now closed that gap to Reese's Pieces now to 5 points. And that is now, yep, my numbers are correct. Yep, that'll be 96 for Sheriff Woody, 101 for Reese's Pieces, and 131 for J Undisputed. So 35 points now covering the top 3, but Sid Sandwich, as he joins us up, not quite the victory, but we'll get to the interviews later on. And for all we had a smaller grid compared to what we usually have for Tier 3, still nonetheless a fantastic fight in that midfield that kept us all engaged right till the very end. As we head to the showroom, and let's see if we can get a word from our drivers. We get the RB up on screen for our P3 driver, that being Sheriff, not quite Sheriff Woody, pardon me, that'll be for Sid Sandwich, and the RB. So while we're getting the interviews out the way, let's answer a few Discord notifications because I can. And there we go. See if I can get a word from JSY and Wizard of Oz. But in the meantime, Monkey Boy Kurt, our P3 driver.
Yeah, thank you, Cruiser. Yeah, P3, Sid Sandwich on the podium once again. Congratulations to yourself. It's a good, clean drive today. We'll start off with quali, obviously. P4 in quali, just in behind your teammate J Undisputed. Obviously, you ended up having the better race, but in a whole quali, how did it go for you? Do you think you could have gone any quicker to get on the front row of the grid today?
Most definitely. After the first stint, I did 2 laps. Then I came into the pits to go out and again and do another 2 laps, but I forgot to switch the tires.
Oh,
So I
unlucky.
had no grip going into turn 1 both times.
Yeah, we did see that on your final run, I think. I think you came out quite early for a final run, and then we saw you go wide and you had another installation lap. But nevertheless, P4 is still good to start on the second row of the grid, gets you obviously in amongst the leaders, and you were pretty much there the whole race. Obviously, it was kind of split into 2 halves. We had that safety car that came out around about halfway in the race, and it felt well for you, obviously, because you were starting on the medium tyre, so obviously going on to the hard, it must have been a really good time for that safety car to come in.
Yeah, I mean, it was uh almost luck to be honest, because I was planning on starting on the hards at first, but then I saw on Race Director that Jay was starting on mediums. So I thought, why not go mediums as well, and it paid off.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, obviously coming into the second half of the race, kind of you three sort of broke away at the front. Obviously, you had, Wizard of Oz, JSY, and yourself, and for a while you did also have Jay there as well. But I think he got some wing damage, and then eventually let you through. We saw you as well, sort of really getting close to almost the DRS range. The JSY in second place. We've almost thought you were going to get P2, but I'm guessing you just didn't quite have enough pace in the car to just quite get within there and make it a fight for the second spot.
No, to be honest, I think I could have definitely gone P2 if I had let Jay pass right on the restart. I think going into turn 3, I backed out way too late, with cost us both a lot of time. And if I hadn't done that, I think I would have gotten P2.
Yeah, well, obviously you can still be proud with the P3. It's another podium and some good points for obviously the Racing Bulls. But we go on to next week now, and that's going to be Singapore, another street circuit under the lights. How are you feeling for that one?
I feel very good about that one, because last season it was 1-4 for us with Jay on top. So I have very strong faith that we can perform very well again.
Yeah, well, hopefully next week, obviously, you can have a chance of a podium, maybe even a win next week. But obviously, good luck for then, and well done once again for your P3 tonight, mate.
Thank you.
There we go. Right, I was just quick words from our drivers there, but Sid, congratulations, 3rd place for you.
Thank you very much.
Where do we head off to now? Still a Red Bull, but our P2 driver, Aviation GSY, brought in tonight due to unfortunate circumstances for the Red Bull drivers. But he ends the evening in 2nd place, saying, I felt qualifying was strong with P2. I had a few tenths in it, but still a good lap. The race was pretty consistent, stayed second the whole way, and great to get my best result in FPRL. The win shall come soon. And that's it. Well, granted, 2nd place, cracking effort from GSY, but the guy who just had a couple of tenths in hand, the Haas of Wizard of Oz, our winner tonight, getting a word through our Discord server as well, saying absolutely perfect race day. Safety car made me work a bit, just get away from GSY at the restart. Keep the head down and do the basics right, and it all worked out for the end. Pole, win, fastest lap, can't complain, and a thank you to the commentary team and Chin Chin for the victory. Indeed, Chin Chin, and congratulations to yourself, Wizard of Oz, for what is, if I'm correct, your 2nd victory of the season, following on from our Hungarian sprint race. But before we do go, as I will mute the audio real quick, aka go to the Xbox menu. Monkey Boy Kurtz, it's that time again. We need to sign off, but before we do, our driver of the day.
So tonight, I've had to think about it. Obviously, not as big a grid tonight with 14. There was a few that went out quite early on. So some guys have obviously gained positions, solely through people going out. But I had to keep it on the track. But on this occasion, I'm going to go for the boring option. I can't look past the pole sitter and the race winner. He looked in full control today. So I'm going to give driver of the day to Wizard of Oz.
Now, that is the Grand Chelem for Wizard of Oz. The perfect day for the Haas driver. And with that momentum to carry on to Marina Bay, anything's possible in this championship, which you do not want to miss out next time out on the 24th of March, where the Tier 3s and FPRL head off to Marina Bay in Singapore. But before then, we have 2 more races this week. Wednesday, the 19th of March, our Tier 2 drivers, myself, and Tier 2 take on the Baku Street Circuit, and Tier 1 take on the Street Circuit on the 21st of March. So that is all from us here at FPRL, and be sure as well to follow our social media channels, our Twitch, twitch.tv/FP Racing League, the primary source of all of our live streams and interactions, our YouTube, Fair Play Racing League, all lowercase, where our live streams are ported to YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, hello. And be sure to follow our other social media, our X account, formerly Twitter, at FairPlayRL, our Instagram, at FairPlay_RL, and our Discord server is the way to communicate and interact with our drivers. Nightbot drops a link to our Discord server through our Twitch chat, and you'll find this Discord link on all of our other social media, through our X account, through our Instagram and YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. We're on the way to world domination, aka 100 subscribers in the meantime. And be sure to tune in to our Twitch channel live, 8 PM UK time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, as we count down the end to Season 10 and the end of F1 24. But before then, we have to end off the night stream. So, Monty Boy Kurt, thank you very much again, and I will see you in a couple of weeks.
Well, indeed, mate. No, thank you very much. We're going to have to split up the partnership with you not being on the Monday this time. So that's a bit different. I know, obviously, I'm not here every single Monday, but I'll see you in 2 weeks. And hopefully all goes well for you too on Wednesday night as well.
Well, that I do. Right, Regmeister, this is an open message. Please stay away from me because you're 2 points behind me, and I don't like the next 2 tracks. But still, I'm Monkey Boy Car. I will catch you at Kota, and we will see you at Marina Bay. This has been Cruiser 1872. I will see you shortly in Tier 3, but until then, this has been Cruiser 1872, accompanied by
Monkey Boy Kurt. Thanks everyone for watching.
And from all of us here at FPRL, good night.